good people, and welcome to Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. I am your host, Michelle Dusbert, and I am super excited today because today is super special because I have guests with me that were with me from the very first show. And we're going to get into it. Listen, it's a beautiful day here in Atlanta. Feels like fall, right? That's what we're talking about. It's changing of seasons. We're not really ready for that yet. But it's coming. It's here. It's happening. So fall in the air. We're pulling out little jackets and sweaters and things of that nature. So the seasons are changing. So that's just to let you know what's going on. I want to welcome all of our new listeners. Thank you so much for taking time, for checking us out. And the ones that keep following and listening to us week after week, we appreciate you. For the newbies, let me tell you what Real Chicks Rock is all about. It's all about creatively collaborating and connecting to raise awareness by regarding issues that impact women. And we do it by way of community service, engagement, public speaking, mentoring, our workshops, and the arts. And we have been doing this thing right here, 7 years. Yeah, right. So my guest today, yes, give it to me, Dad, give it to me. My guests today were with me from the very first show, which was April 16th, 2016. Wow. Right. Wow. Right. We were in a different location. We talked at a bar top. It was a, bar top. Man, we had mics and we were sitting close and snugly. Mm-hmm. And the conversation then, because I found it to be quite interesting, it was about hip hop. Mm-hmm. It was the conversation hip hop then versus now. And so today's topic is hip hop then versus now part 2. Part 2, because it's the same people. It's 7 years later. But let me give some introductions. My guest today is Cheryl Cox, Dee Tate, and Darren Divine. Hello, family.
What's up?
How are y'all?
Hello.
All right. Dee, I'm going to start with you. Tell the people a little bit. Oh, no. Tell the people where you're from and a little bit about your day job, just so people get a feel of who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm Dee Tate. My government name is Darlene Tate, and my Tate is my maiden name. Mm-hmm. Holiday is my formerly married name. I'm from Illinois by way of Virginia, and I moved to Atlanta about 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. I've been a communication director for the last 10 years.
Awesome.
And before that, I've been in multiple roles, marketing, communications, all throughout the corporate sector. Mm-hmm. So communication is where I landed for the last 10 years.
Awesome. And then you have a love for music. Do you not, DJ Butter? Come on.
Sorta.
Kind of, sorta. Okay. All right. We'll take that. All right.
Yeah, I'm also in the process of building a DJ career. I've been doing that also a little over 10 years. Mm-hmm. I started off in vinyl probably 30 years ago. Wow. Left it, moved back into the digital space. Mm-hmm. 2014, so it's coming up on 10 years.
Awesome.
And my first gig was from Real Chicks Rock.
That's right.
Yeah.
At Urban Grind, the coffee shop. Yes.
Periodic spots there.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Always been welcoming.
Yes, Dee, a supporter and a fan. We appreciate you. Darren, tell the people a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What do you do during the day?
Okay, so my name is Darren Divine, born and raised out in New York City, Harlem, South Jamaica,
New York City.
Yes, sir. Moved to Atlanta in 1996. I came with the Olympics, that whole wave. Mm-hmm. I've been connected to the entertainment industry well over 30 years. I was an artist, local artist out of New York City. Had a single out back in the 90s. Then when I moved to Atlanta, I took a different journey, started DJing. I did Sunday nights at the world famous Apache Cafe, the now defunct Apache Cafe. And I've still been connected by doing local events here in Atlanta. I've also worked for sound and stage production. Was sat on a couple of production stages for like various TV shows, including BMF.
Okay.
So, and like I said, just still connect, still doing events and festivals.
Awesome. Cheryl Cox, tell the people.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cheryl Cox, and I am, by day, I am a nurse. I am currently regional behavioral health manager for my company. I cover Tennessee, Georgia, and Texas. So I've been traveling a lot lately here. I am from East Orange, New Jersey, always rep EO. No matter where I go, East Orange is always my home. I've been in Atlanta now for 17 years.
Awesome. Seems longer.
It seems longer, but 17 years.
Okay. All right. Hip hop today. What is it? What's your viewpoint? I'm going to start with you, Darren. First of all, I don't even know how many people are in that space of hip hop. I think there's a whole nother conversation, hip hop versus rap. That's a whole nother total thing. But give us your viewpoint on where you see that genre of music today.
Okay, this is like a twofold answer.
Okay.
So let me give the politicely correct one first.
We'll take it.
Okay, so it's a beautiful thing that hip hop has been around as long as it's been. You know, it was a lot of resistance in the beginning. There was a lot of people trying to keep it from flourishing to where it is now. But now that we're in the 50th year and all the celebrations that's been had, and a lot of veteran artists are getting their due that they didn't necessarily get from before. So it's beautiful in that aspect.
Right.
The hard critique answer is that we just wish that commercial mainstream would have more of a balance of what it was then as compared to now, because it's just one form of rap that's being created. Like, it was already hypersexualized and violent and everything, like when it came out, since its inception. But now it's just kind of like, I guess because we're older now and we've all we're not in that space that we was, and now we're seeing that people are still trying to hold that space. It's a little overkill. It's a little crazy.
Good point. I don't know if it was over-sexualized then. Let me ask you, Cheryl, do you think it was? What's your viewpoint?
No, I don't think it was over-sexualized. I think, the only people we had doing it at that time might have been Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown.
Might have been, right.
It started in that era.
Yeah,
right.
But they weren't nowhere near as sexual as these women are today.
Right.
Now, I'm not knocking them because this is a whole different time.
Yeah.
These are different group of people.
Yeah.
These children are exposed to so many things that this is like normal for them.
Yeah.
But you have to realize back in the day when Kim came out, that was like shock for us because we didn't have social media.
Right.
We didn't have all that exposure to all of that. You had to sneak in to watch BET at night or something like that.
Right.
But nowadays, it's at their hands. So this is normal. This is normal for them, but it doesn't make it acceptable to me. Like, it's not something that I want to see women portraying themselves like that. Like, we can have MC Lights and we can have the Latifahs, we can have the Little Kims. But she was sexual, but it was not as, I don't want to say raunchy as it is now, but it is a little overkill right now.
Okay. Dee, your thoughts today, rap music, and then there's hip hop. Does hip hop really still exist today? What are your thoughts, Dee? Tell us.
It seemed like hip hop is done the reverse of house. Like hip hop is now underground and rap is mainstream. And so I think there are a lot of good hip hop artists still out there, but they're very underground. They get very little airplay. So to Darren's point, we just need a balance. I think all of it has always existed, but it was always a balance. So you had a choice of who you can listen to. Right now, it's just a tunnel towards one direction.
Right.
So I think that's pretty much the biggest part of hip hop, the perception of hip hop, that the real hip hop doesn't exist, and you have to go looking for it. Yeah. You don't have the DJs pushing it out to you like you used to.
Do we feel, are we knocking them for their game? Are we older now? We are older.
Hey, that's a blessing, first of all. I wear my own. I wear.
Like we kind of are the gatekeepers.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, listen, it's a blessing to be an old head.
Yes.
And what people don't realize is that y'all gonna be old heads one day.
Right.
These same young kids that's trying to, man, you did it. Y'all gonna be in the same position that we are, and y'all gonna be the ones that's raising the next generation. So y'all have to give them some type of guidance and understanding so it doesn't go as far left as it already is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I like what Dee said. We are the gatekeepers. So should we be more in the space like a Diddy? Because I think he's an older guy, but he ain't letting it go. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? He's gonna be
not like Diddy. No,
he's gonna be in it, but I think he's trying to be some kind of a conduit.
Yeah.
To
I think he embraces it more, the change, than a lot of the other old heads did. And I think that's part of the problem. They didn't embrace it. They were like, oh, they're mumbling, they're doing this, they're doing that. Instead of taking them under their wings and grooming them.
Right.
So they had no guidance. So when you have no guidance, this is what happens, right? So you can't knock them for how they're going about it. The old heads came along too late now. And case in point, like the BET Awards, when they gave the award to Marley Marl. This is in Atlanta. Nobody really clapped.
Nobody knew, right? I saw
they
that.
had no idea who he was.
Word.
Swiss Beats had to actually get people, hey, y'all stand up, get this man.
Because he said he
everybody
was
was
the
like,
founder of sampling beats.
Right, but that's the problem.
Right.
Marley Marl they should know who Marley Marl is, that he should have been able to embrace this younger generation, right? You can't run from it because it's not going to change.
Yeah.
They're going to continue to do what they do to make money, right? But as an old head, they should know who Marley Marl is because he injected himself into what they were doing.
Right.
And the old heads did not do that.
I think it started with the Migos and others that came after it that says, if I don't want to spit 15 or 16 bars, I don't have to.
Right.
And I don't have to pay homage to those that went before me. Y'all did what y'all did. We doing what we doing, and that's what it is. And so it's a different thing. It's a lot more money on the table. I think in all fairness, Marley Marl, he's a well-known producer. We know him, and he's been doing some work. And talking to Lady Alma, had her on the show. She's doing work with Marley Marl.
Okay.
He reached out and wanted to do work with her, which I was like, wow, that's awesome. So he's got house in his veins, right? He's a house guy as well as everything else. But I think the older guys was trying to find their lane, because when things were switching, even when in the 90s and early 2000s, they weren't getting the love then. And so now it's 2023. Do they really expect to get the love now? I don't know.
I think what happened was, as the Y and Z generations came in, they lowered the stat. See, because back in the golden era of hip hop, you was held to a standard. Y'all remember this? We're all we're all Generation X here, right?
Right.
You remember being held to a standard by just saying you're a hip hop head. In other words, if you said you was a hip hop head, the question would be like, who's your favorite MC?
Yeah.
And you would have to name those MCs of that time, the KRS Ones, Big Daddy Kane, Nas's, and all of that. Now it's like, right. Now it's just like anybody. Oh, so-and-so is I'm a hip hop head, and so-and-so is my favorite. And you're looking like, huh? Who? What?
Yeah.
So like the bar has been lowered.
It has.
So far as like you said, it's like people feel like they don't want to feel a Hot 16 because they get with these record labels. These record labels push, their statuses through the roof, to whereas they're going to get these sales and they're going to get these likes and streams or whatever just on the strength, and people are building their fan base through that as opposed to their actual talent and lyricism.
But that's their outlet. Our outlet was mixtapes, right?
Right.
The first time I heard Dipset was because my son had a mixtape, and I was like, "Wow, let me listen to that. It was dope." Like you had Cameron, that was young Kanye, West
Jules Santana, and all of them.
So that's how I heard about Dipset. They weren't commercial, but that's how you got it. You got it underground. Their outlet is media. They have the access to everything. And they have access globally now because of streamings and TikToks and stuff like that. So that's their outlet. It's just a matter of how do you go back to what hip hop was?
Yeah, it's the outlet is digital. And even before we got digital, and I'm coming to you, Dee, in a second, before we even got there, we had reality TV, right? So a lot of people got on this thing called reality TV. And like it or not, I am going to tip my hat to Cardi B in the sense that she took that platform and said, I don't really want to be on this for long term, but I'm going to secure the bag.
Right.
Whatever they give me, and I'm going to take this money and get with people that can write for me or help me to write, and I'm going to do this, right? So she already had I hate to say it, or maybe it's really not hate to say it, she already knew how to perform in front of people, right? Because of her being a dancer. So she's like, I'm going to take that and change my whole game around. And so now she's a machine that people want to get with, blah, 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 blah. Dee, I want to ask you, does the new generation, in your opinion, owe homage to like a Marley Marl or a KRS-One, or they don't even know who Crash Crew is or Grandmaster Cass? I don't even want to go that far.
Yeah, right.
They don't even know that far. I'm gonna stop it at Marley Marl. Some of them don't even know who Lauryn Hill is.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Dee?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, side point to that, I think it is changing. I, of course, work in a lot of social media, so I see an influx of young kids that's like in 90s rap or 90s hip hop.
Nice.
And you have reaction channels, listen to the hip hop song and whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. And they're getting excited about the wordplay, you know, and all the nuances that hip hop does. So I think it would change it a little bit, but it's hard to say that we owe homage, that they owe homage, because when we came out, I remember some of us saying the same thing about that was our parents' music, but it was also sprinkled with a little respect, you know. And I think that's with them. It's just like, oh, forget y'all done, y'all washed up. Right. It was never like that. You know, it comes back to balance. Yeah. I think they're one way or this way.
Exactly.
You
know,
I got you. And I think what we did, I think what the artists did, though, to pay homage to our parents, the sampling really took off. Right? Because then now they're sampling James Brown beats, right? Stuff that we listened to. Isley Brothers. Steely Dan, Peg, right? The whole thing. FM, Joni Mitchell, stuff that we heard our parents listen to. They had enough creativity to say, yo, that was a deaf beater, you know, and figured it out. And now it's getting resampled again, right? So in the sense that somebody like Busta, who I felt kept the conduit open, right? He did. Yeah. And then, you know, Coi Leray does the song, and now he's on the remix, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's hot. You know what I mean? So he's getting it.
It's kind of crazy where, you know what I'm saying, we like, you know, the rappers out there was sampling Jackson 5. But now the rappers, they're just sampling Jay-Z. They're not going to Jackson 5.
Going that far. Or they don't even realize. They go maybe as far as Mary J, and Mary got it from Roy.
Right. And it's like, but that's where they're trying to really block the education and history. And that's not just hip hop. That is a problem across the board. You see, you got a governor in Florida trying to take out Black history in the whole state of Florida. Like, how do you do that? You know what I mean? Like, you know, like that's like trying to say, like, oh yeah, y'all were here, but y'all didn't contribute to America. Same thing.
Let's try to erase it. I want to piggyback off of Dee's point about the 90s. Because I do get out, not as much as I used to. I'm slowing down, y'all. I'm slowing down. Don't look at me. I know you can't see it, D, but Cheryl's giving me the side eye here. But I don't go out to every single thing. I don't. I'm a little bit more selective. But I do go to spaces that isn't always house. Clutch your pearls. I know. And they do play the R&B, 90s, and it is kids that are younger than me. I'm old enough to be their mom, that are really knowing the words and liking it and enjoying it. So I ask you, panel, was 90s hip-hop the best era? What say you, Cheryl? Was it good? Was it the best, the 90s?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Why so? What?
Because we have Nas.
Mm.
My favorite rapper of all time is AZ.
I heard that word.
AZ is underground.
Underrated too.
Underrated,
Yes,
but
he
I
is.
love AZ.
Yeah.
You had the Talib qualities. I'm a conscious rap
Yeah,
person.
I hear you.
That's where all of that
Common.
came from. Common.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't a Common fan like that so much, but it definitely was Nas, the AZs, Poor Righteous Teachers,
Mm-hmm.
Brand Nubian. That was my crew. That conscious music.
Black Star? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Talib Kweli.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Prodigy.
Prodigy.
Yeah, so
May he rest in
90s
peace.
was probably some of the best rap. And I think because by the time that came around, there was a perfection to it. Like they perfected it instead of just the hip hop, the hippie, right?
Yeah.
They came with something else. They
came with the sword.
KRS came with the bridges over. Everything else came differently. So there's always a blueprint, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's always a blueprint. So here's the 70s where you got Sugar Hill Gang and not Kool Moe Dee, but Melly Mall and them, and they coming along, right? So now you have this next group of people who perfected. Can you say that the music now is perfected from what we were doing before? I can't say yes to that.
I can't say. I'm gonna take the fifth on that, Darren. What say you?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. In the okay, so I like to break it down in generations. So the first generations were, of course, like you say, Kool Moe Dee's and Funky 4 Plus, Funky 4 Plus One More, Sugar Hill Gang,
Sequence, ring ding
right.
dong, ding 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 dong, Angie B, Angie Stone,
Spoonie G.
Yes.
What's my man with suit that had the joint Super Sperm back in the day?
Wow. Now you're talking dirty. Okay.
Yeah, okay, but now the 90s come along, that second generation. 90s come along, it was still developing. We were still trying to, because like I said, we were held to standards. Now, being in the circle back in the days, all the top producers from back then, whether it was Molly Marr, whether it was Pete Rock, whether it was Large Professor, whether it was DJ Premier, whether it was the
DJ
Beat Miners. There was like this thing, they had like a competition because like they would always release a lot of the hip hop albums during the summer. They had a competition of who would have the top album in the summer, because the summertime, that's where everybody was out. They had their car systems. You heard it, playing out people's windows and stuff like that. So there was a standard like, yo, I'm going to have the top album this year, where that pressure is just not there in this day and time. People just put it out and people just accept it for what it is. It's like, hey, everybody, you hear rave reviews of every artist that comes out. Like you have X amount of people that hate the Drake album, but then you have these circle of people that love the Drake, and that's how it's been for every artist. Like I haven't heard that one album that everybody from 8 to 80 just loves, like, yo, this is it. Because that was the type of albums that we had to put out back then, because that's where, what I'm saying, that was the kind of pressure that was on.
Yeah.
Are they even putting out albums?
I was going to say, hold that point, right, because it's not even albums or CDs or cassettes or anything like that.
Well,
it might
the format
be
of the format of the stream, today is the format of the
Mm-hmm.
stream, but it's still a number of songs, still a number of anything I believe after 8 songs is an album. 6 is the EP, anything after that, album.
We're going to come back. I want to talk about the culture. I want to give Dee an opportunity to weigh in. 90s music, 90s hip hop. You got 30 years you've been touching vinyl. Was 90s a good year for hip hop in your opinion, Dee?
Absolutely. Y'all left off the native tongues.
Yes,
I
did.
Native tongues. Just everybody that you've named, and we can add more. Queen Latifah, just go on. And one thing I thought of in the 90s, we had hip hop movies. I think Crush Groove came at the end of the 80s, but you started having more hip hop movies, and rappers became more than just hip hop stars. They became actors, LL and Queen Latifah. And I don't see that happening anymore either.
My fave,
Ice Cube.
My fave, Tribe Called Quest, of course. Definitely. And their music still carries on today. Hip hop has always been, and Cheryl said something that hit me in my head. culturally, like when it came in the 80s, there was a style and a fashion that went with it. And even from an artistic perspective, there was the graffiti movement.
Yeah.
And I think we took that in the 90s, and I think this what made the 90s even hotter. They took all of that creativity and became entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
So you have FUBU and Fat Farm and Car Kanai. So now we look a certain way globally, everybody, and we rapping and we writing, and it's people making bags today. Do we have that today?
Actually,
is it just a
actually,
what we wearing today?
what artists are doing now,
Balenciaga, and other Yeezys. But they're not only Yeezy. I mean, but the other ones are established that you instead of making your own companies.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that artists do is they have merchandising, because a lot of them had to go to merchandising because they was getting totally screwed out of these 360 deals, where a lot of these labels, not only were they taking your publishing, they was getting into your concert sales. Some of them would even want X amount of your merchandising. So the good thing about when we was getting into fashion back then, that kind of triggered into an artist having his own personal license. That's where Yeezy came in with his sneaker deal. That's where Jay-Z came in with their sneaker deal. And who was another one? Pharrell. Pharrell had a sneaker that was out because he was pushing skateboard culture and all that.
Lil Wayne was too.
Lil Wayne was too, yeah.
Lil Wayne was too.
I don't think he got his own sneaker, but...
No, but he's pushing the skateboard culture.
Right.
They were wearing Vans and...
and that type of stuff.
Right.
So I will say this, though. They may or may not have learned it from the older heads. They are getting these lucrative deals, or they're controlling their music, how their money comes to them, versus when we came up. So many times they didn't even own the rights. They're still trying to get their masters now, some of them.
Well, that's the difference. This generation knows how to get the money. They definitely know how to get the money because they become millionaires overnight. Like,
how can I get on that drink?
Well, the internet.
I can write a rap, but I don't know how much it's going to sell.
The internet has a lot to do with that. We needed the internet back then.
Yeah.
We probably have our stars on the Walk of Fame all the time. You be Oprah status.
Oh, thank you
But
very much.
like that's the big difference now, where the internet is. You can just control, you don't have to go to a major label. The major labels are still trying to have a strong hold on the industry. They're the ones that implemented this whole stream thing, where even the percentage of it is like 3/4 of a penny. You can't even get a penny per unit, or or per video that's watched.
Right.
So
there's no money in that.
But you could control your own destiny and have your own particular fan base and just work them, and you can be good.
I mean, a lot of them come from TikTok. Look at Sexy Red. Look at Glorilla. Now, I do have to admit, I like Glorilla.
Okay.
I like Glorilla.
Okay.
But those people are coming from TikToks and internet and YouTube fame, and they're building from that, and then they're going into the market. They're not looking for agents no more. They're not looking for people to produce them anymore. They'll put up that camera, go on YouTube, do their song, and then the next thing you know, they're on the BET Awards.
And what is it about Glorilla that you like?
I don't know. I just like her flow.
Okay.
I just like her flow.
Okay.
She's not as out there like a lot of them, but I just like her. It's something about her Memphis flow. I just like her flow. She's just, out of all of the ones that's out there, she's the one I like the most.
Okay. Now, this is what I do to stay connected, because regular radio in the car is garbage. It's too many commercials. I can't get to the music.
The program of it, you're going to hear the same stuff. You're going to hear the same Drake song and played in the 10, 20 minute span.
I don't do it. So I spend just a few dollars to have Sirius XM radio.
Okay.
I do. I like it. And it is there that I get to hear, to Dee's point, some of these underground artists. Right. And just people I didn't know. And because I want to be like, I still want to know what's up. Like, I don't want to, I'm not in my box yet. I'm not laying in my box like this. So I still love hip hop, and I want to still respect the form and the genre that is being presented. And some are good. And I do feel, though, I feel like it's changing a little bit. What say you, panel, in the sense that I feel that there is a little bit more pen to paper versus just willy-nilliness. Dee, let me ask you, do you feel like the hip-hop artists today or rap artists today are sounding a little different, a little bit better, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think they're getting there. I think they're getting there because the old heads still got their foot on their neck. They're still out here and making these social media rants about them messing up with the foundation that they laid. So I think as long as they're still around, I mean, unfortunately, a few of them are dying off rather young, but we still got enough of them left to raise the village. Yeah, so I think as long as we're still around and it's a presence, we're going to kind of hold them to the standard.
Yeah. I want to shout out LL Cool J. I think he's doing an excellent job with the whole Rock the Bells radio station. It used to be Backspin, and it was kind of on the same rotation of songs or whatever. He is actually giving people work. Yeah. Because he's got DJ Scratch on there. I heard DJ Epps last night. He got Remy Ma's dude on there, Papoose with a show. And then these DJs are not just sticking to the classic old school stuff. They'll sprinkle in some newer stuff too in the mixes just to kind of educate the people.
I want to add something.
Go ahead.
If you've seen his performance on the BET Awards just recently, on Hip Hop BET Awards, this is a man in his mid-50s, and he had the energy just like he put out his first album, and it was wasn't no lip syncing. Nope. Everything was queued up on point, and there was an actual tweet on Twitter or the X or however you want to say it, where they were like, "Yo, all the old rappers is rhyming straight up, and all the new rappers is rhyming rhyming behind their vocals." So
I saw LL on the Tom Joyner cruise live, and when I tell you he puts on the show, he puts on a show, and I'm telling you, energy from the time he hit the stage till he leaves. Yeah, he's definitely got it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And can I piggyback on that? That is infectious, and now you're seeing the old school artists shows sell out, and the new artists are having problems filling up a stadium. So I think that's interesting.
You had a few instances where some new rappers, they had to have their shows canceled because they just wasn't selling in those particular cities. But like you say,
Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, Jay-Z, all of them could continue to sell out shows.
Always.
I actually worked an event where it was Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, EPMD, and it was a nice sizable crowd. Even they even had this was at the Maple House Amphitheater, and they had one for the down south artists. They had 8-Ball and MJG, Bun B. Even though he's West Coast man from the Dog Pound.
Quick.
No, no, from the Dog Pound. Corrupt.
Oh.
Yes.
Warren G. Correct.
Yeah, and that show was an awesome show, and that everybody, that like you said, that was representing the South. That was in Atlanta, so they was all
And that's the difference. That's what I felt about the BET Awards. I felt like because it was filmed here in Atlanta, they should have did more of a Southern type of like Fat Joe was keeping it in New York. That's different if you would have did that at up in New York. Like people would have went crazy for Marley Marl, right? They would have went mad. But you down here in the South, you got to keep it Southern. Like you got to know your audience. And when they started doing Jay-Z, when JD came out, right, and he brought So Def out, the audience was going crazy. But they weren't doing that for the New York, for the New York rappers. So you have to definitely draw your line and know your audience.
No accolades to Outkast.
None. That's what
and they got the #1 selling album ever, hip hop album ever. No accolades to Outkast.
But we
should have had Big Boy. Should have Big. You had to have Big Boy up there.
But we kind of biased when it comes to rap. Like there's the New York rap, right? Then you got the Midwest. It's a bias.
Well, not.
It's a bias.
I mean, maybe so far as when they do a show, but there's a lot of Southern rappers in the mixtape era. They were selling in New York like crazy. Lil Wayne and Gucci Man with T.I. was selling like crazy in New York.
Yeah, but we snobbish, and we know that.
We are.
We snobbish.
Us Northerners,
We real particular about our rap, and we real snobbish. It took a lot for people to start even respecting the Southern rappers like Outkast. Outkast, they definitely had to fight their way to get some love up top.
Yeah.
So you can say what you want to, but
Well,
I'm just saying it's true.
They wasn't getting the play. Now, one thing New York, the bias was they wasn't getting the play like they was like back in, because it was the whole Tupac thing, the whole, so like it was a regional thing. A lot of these stations now, they're working more on the national level, so you're hearing more of these artists come out, and that's but like I said, but when gotta keep cute on the mic, but So when but a lot of those barriers were being broke as when like say when the South finally was like the main, all the artists was like the main ones on the radio. That's where you started getting a lot more love, where they was going into New York and performing shows. And
but it took some time. It
took some time. It definitely took some time.
No overnight deal. Like,
it took years.
You were listening to Outkast on the low, like and you didn't want nobody to hear you.
Didn't want nobody to know.
I tell people to this day the only reason why Outkast got disrespected at the Source Awards because they beat out Wu-Tang.
Okay.
You got to think, in New York, Wu-Tang should have been the only ones to win that award for best group. So when it was Outkast, and they weren't, they weren't even getting played in New York like that. So people weren't booing like, nah, they whack, booing like, who are they?
It's almost like it's a division in the culture. It's almost like light skin versus dark skin. It's kind of like you're in this space and like it's who's better. We feel, because those that don't know, I'm from the Bronx. The birthplace of hip hop.
Right.
So I personally feel a way, and so when you feel it's slipping. One thing about the 90s, it was slipping away from the Northeast because of Outkast, and then the whole
West Coast
Cash Money down in those guys, and then Luke was doing his thing in Miami.
Don't forget about Bun B and them.
And then the West Coast. So it was like a whole emergence of different styles of hip hop, and people could write and people could spit, and it was a different thing. And different dance crazes came with different types of styles of hip hop. So it was a different thing. So now New Yorkers, people are like, y'all ain't really got nothing up there. It's everywhere else. And so we feel away. Right. I'm telling you, we feel away. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's evolution. That comes with it, right?
But shout out to all the ones that was still trying to hold it down, like the Locks.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Joey Badass and all the underground.
And Jadakiss, like people that are just like phenomenal.
Right.
Like that are still doing it. Yeah.
Kiss is a beast on the mic.
I know, he's absolutely. Versus helped research. I think Versus, the pandemic helped to resuscitate some careers.
Yes.
Right? Because
that did. Versus was
awesome.
Versus was like the springboard.
Yes, because it helped. Because people that wasn't getting work was getting some work.
Right.
You know, because it was like
Swiss Beats
for that creativity. Because it was like, and it was like they were in our minds. Because it was like we would want to see this person versus that person. So the matchup was pretty good. It was really good in that sense. So that's a good thing. I want to ask, do you have any favorite artists today? And you can give me an old as well as a new. You told me Glorilla is one.
I like Glorilla.
You have an oldie you still like?
Oh, AZ.
AZ, okay. Darren, how about you?
Okay, so now so
Darren always got to give us a story. Wait a minute.
Yeah. You see him lean back in the chair. All right, what you got?
No. So far as female artists, one that
doesn't matter.
The one that artist that doesn't get a lot of credit on the mainstream level is Rhapsody. And Rhapsody is one of those ones I feel that should get more exposure. She doesn't get all freakish in her lyrics and all of that.
Right.
So she should get she should definitely get some more exposure. I like Kendrick. Kendrick's holding it down.
Kendrick,
you know what I'm saying?
I do. I like Kendrick.
But those go
and
back
J.
to
Cole.
They go back to the conscious rap. Right?
They
like
do.
If you like conscious rap growing up, you always gonna like conscious rap. I'm thinking outside of the box. I'm gonna go outside of my box of consciousness. And I'm going to say Glorilla because I like her. Yeah. But consciously, you have Rhapsody. There's this chick out in New York, too, that's really nice. She was on the BET Awards. She a little sexual, but she not real bad. But I can't think of her name. It's going to come to me.
Okay, we'll come back.
She's nice, too.
Dee, who do you have? Old and new?
Old. It used to be Jay-Z, so I would say Jay-Z. Prior to the Black Album, Black Album and going back. And Coast Contra probably do. Yeah. Yeah, they're good. They're kind of a Busta Rhymes type flow.
Yeah, yeah. And how do you listen to your music? Are you listening through Mixcloud, mixtapes? How do you find out who's who? How are you getting your music?
I don't listen to the radio. To be honest, most of my music is 99% house.
Got you.
Right now.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, because when I turn on the radio, they're playing 90s hip hop like it's today's hip hop.
No.
Yeah. So now you're kind of getting tired of like you did back in the 90s.
Yeah.
The same groups over and over.
Yeah. So just to prevent that, I just put in my CD tapes, and I have a short commute, so I don't listen to the radio that much.
Okay.
I
Good
get the
deal.
opportunity to.
Good deal.
Forgot to mention, favorite rapper, old and new, Nas. He was making music back then, and he's still making music today. Hands down.
Which correlates into my AZ.
Yeah.
You have Nas, you have AZ.
Yeah, and the firm and the whole thing. Please address him.
And I really like Mos Def, but I don't know where he is. Yaslin Bay thing.
I like to see. I would like to see more exposure of Mos Def.
I like the old Mos Def. I don't know where Yasin Bey is headed today.
I'm not familiar with none of because they did release a current album
with Talib.
Black Star. They released a current album. There's a little controversy behind that. Won't get into that. But I haven't heard any of that new stuff, that current stuff.
And if you're gonna address Nas, address him as Nasir Jones. That bag is so heavy now. You have to right. Yeah, and it's full props.
He's catching up to Jay-Z. He's going billionaire status.
So I am not shy of my age. Darren made the point about getting older. I'm proud of it. I am a 56-year-old woman. I think I'm a baby boomer. I'm not an extra. I don't know. But needless to say, hip hop has been around for 50 years. Did we ever think it would make it this far? Cheryl, what say you? You thought it was going to make it 50 years?
I didn't think about it because it was just music to me.
Gotcha.
And there's an evolution to music, right? And it's an evolution. I mean, hip hop, the actual, what was it, MCing, breakdancing, graffiti, that doesn't exist anymore.
No,
that doesn't exist anymore.
It's not as prevalent.
Not in the
like
U.S. The Asian population has taken the whole b-boy, Adidas, fat shoelaces, jumpsuit, Kangaroos, Gazelles, and breakdancing to a whole nother. They've just taken it over.
So in that regard, it doesn't exist anymore. And I used to have this one guy I used to go to school with. He was a graffiti artist, and he would go overseas and come back to school because he's teaching them how to spark up on the walls, and they break dancing and stuff. But that portion of it is not here anymore. It's just, to me, it's like it's somebody said it the other day, it's rap pop.
Wow.
They said it's rap pop.
It's been that.
That's watered down.
It's rap pop.
Ooh, that's so watered down.
Because you think about who's buying rap music today. My son's not.
Yeah. And then who wants to? You don't have to buy it because it's streaming everywhere. For free.
TikTok dances.
Everything.
It's pop. It's more pop than it is hip hop.
And how about breakdancing going to be in the Olympics? I'll pause that right there.
That was,
I'm going to pause that right there.
I
want to ask.
When are they having that? The next Olympics?
24.
I want to see that.
I want to see that.
I'm going to be full spectator.
I want to see that too. I want to see that too. And trying to raise money to support that. But Crazy Legs is from Rocksteady Crew. He's been on Instagram trying to do that. Right. Did you ever think hip hop would make it this far? Darren, what do you say?
Yeah, every genre of music, whether it's rock and roll, whether it's R&B, whether it's jazz, it has its staying, it has a staying power, and hip hop is just one of those that's crossed the threshold. You know what I'm saying? It's here. It's still here for the moment. It's still the highest selling genre, on the charts and all that. If you're into that, just hopefully, it can preserve. It can stay some type of balance to where it can stay around for however long it's going to be.
Right.
But every genre has its.
Gotcha.
Has its peak.
Well, yeah. And, to the fact that we said this earlier, I think Dee mentioned it, when hip hop came out, my mother was like, what is that garbage? Because she grew up with the doo-wops singing on the corner, doo-wah, doo-wah. And then there was Motown. And they too might have thought that was going to last forever. And it did not. And hip hop is still here. Ain't nobody doo-wopping. Now they'll do some a cappella singing, which is cool. That's the closest you might get. But nobody's doo-wopping. My grandmother listened to Andy Williams and Lawrence. Lounge acts are in Vegas and barely that. And you got Michael Bublé who tried to resurrect that old Frank Sinatra vibe and the Rat Pack sound.
It has its
hip hop is still here,
right?
And we call it hip hop. It's rap.
It is rap.
It's rap, but it's still here.
It's still here.
Dee Tate, did you think that hip hop would make it this far? 50 years. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I probably did because I started seeing hip hop lyrics recited like poetry. Once it kind of got ingrained in commercials and all of that stuff, I knew once it started tapping into the commercially, I knew it probably was going to stay around.
Yeah. And with Sprite, could Sprite give Black communities some money already? Because they
had the commercials back in the day.
Have taken the culture and hip hop and put it in your face like Sprite is the drink for Black folks. That's all we drinking. I've been drink soda, but
a lot of these commercials are using Black sheep beats.
Yeah.
You can get this, you can do that.
All
they definitely knocked 7-Up out the box. If anybody remember that. Ask moms and pops about 7-Up was that drink. Then all of a sudden Sprite was like, woo.
Put that and drink it all up.
Right.
Yeah, that was the Uncola. That was that. I want to get
Pepsi did something similar before our time. They started marketing directly to the Black community. That's how they became so prevalent.
Yeah, the Michael Jackson video. Yeah, because we all started drinking.
No, even back in the 50s, way before us.
Way before us. Yeah.
Yes, that is way before us.
Yeah,
because,
you said I'm not there. Yeah. So hip hop is still here. Today's controversy, like in anything else, we just can't get along. There's always something that we're buzzing about. And there's conversation or buzz about our Latino brothers and sisters. I predominantly our Puerto Rican brothers and sisters, especially in the Northeast, in New York and all that, their level of contribution to the culture. Now, I know I saw B-boys and girls that were Hispanic. My Puerto Rican sisters, brothers and sisters, we were going at it in a circle because I was a B-boy, a B-girl, a little bit there, breakdancing. I never spun on my head, though. Never spun on my head with the linoleum on the floor. But I'll give you to it, and I'll pop on you, and I'll do all that. But they were there.
Yeah.
And so, yes, they were not, to Darren's point that we said in the Blue Room shenanigans, the founding architects, but they were part of the culture. Cheryl, am I bugging out or no?
No, because they were the B-boys. They were the graffiti artists. They spark up, they would be sparking up and they would be B-boying.
Yeah.
Did they rap? Did they MC? I don't remember that portion, but when it came down to the whole crew, if you did the whole hip hop what it was, then you had the B-boys dancing, you had the rapper rapping, and you had the graffiti artists sparking up, and a lot of times they were Hispanic.
Yeah.
Doing the breakdancing in the graffiti.
Darren?
See, okay, so the controversy is that you have Fat Joe who made a statement saying that the Latino community brought hip hop.
That's heavy.
You know what I'm saying?
Now that's heavy.
And let's stand corrected. The origin of hip hop goes back to the doo-wop because they were rapping back then. If you want to look at the breakdancing, if you look at the 30s and the 40s, they was doing when they was doing the Charleston dances and all that, that was similar to what the breakdancing is. So there should be no argument so far as foundation Black Americans being the root, being the origin of it. You know what I'm saying? But so far as one particular nationality just taking all of the credit of saying that we brought hip hop, I mean, it was a contribution. Yes, you had your Latino brothers and the Caribbean brothers that contributed to the genre, but let's be corrected where the origins came from. The origins came from us.
Okay. Dee, what are your thoughts?
Look, I'm from the Midwest, so you guys are the expert on that. I'm from St. Louis. But I will say when I thought about b-boys and graffiti and stuff, I did think about the Puerto Rican community as well.
Yeah.
So I knew that they were included.
Yeah.
It's been so bad. Like you have the brother Tariq Nasheed. He has a whole documentary on it where he got Grandmaster Cash. He got the sister Shah Rock saying that just putting in their input. They're just saying that no, it wasn't solely the Latinos or the Caribbeans that started hip hop.
Right.
It's sort of like I said, the controversies where they're just trying to exclude the foundational Black Americans from having the origin, creating the origins of it. But that's the only argument.
It's a melting pot. Everybody contributed to it in their own way and fashion. Like it was just more, I guess the Puerto Rican community saw it their way because they were break dancing and sparking. We saw it our way because we was rapping and DJing. So everybody contributed to it in that sense. Up in New York, it was like Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, all of that. Everybody contributed to it. So
everybody leaned in on it. I'm gonna say this because I am from Bronx River.
We already know.
Right. No, some people don't know. So I have to let them
know. I'm saying what you about to say.
I have to let folks know.
You seen it from day one.
I've seen it from day one, and so there's a hole in my heart a little bit because in all this talk about hip hop, you can't change who contributed to it, right? And so we may not like what certain people have done or where they are today, but you shouldn't etch out their name because they were instrumental in the culture. And so where I'm going with it, because I was blessed to have Mr. Biggs from Soul Sonic Force on the show, because we grew up on the same neighborhood. His brother was in my 4th grade class. And so I was honored to have the conversation with him, and he was really passionate about just their contribution to hip hop. And I'm talking about Africa Bambaataa and Soul Sonic Force, right? But really primarily Africa Bambaataa. And Darren, you're absolutely correct. I saw hip hop in its early inception. I saw it when people were hungry, running extension cords from their apartment. Bam used to run it from his apartment to the back of the center to spin records, and this is beats, and this is Jimmy Castro Just Begun. Like the stuff we hear on commercials today, to Dee's point, I heard that raw. And we're kids, and we're like, what is this? And it was an energy, and it was a vibe, and it was a whole thing. And so, I am bougie and biased because I feel like it was birthed in my space and during my time. And so, but in all good things, there's evolution, right? There's room for everybody to enjoy this. It would be selfish of us to think it's just a New York City thing or just a Bronx thing. It's a everybody's thing.
Exactly.
It's global.
It's a global movement, and just take honor in the fact that you remember where you were when you first heard that first joint that was like, oh my God, what is this? And you remember, and you fell in love. You remember the day that you fell in love with hip hop, basically, right? And it stays with you forever. I ask you, panel, where do you see, or where would you like to see hip hop go? I'm gonna start with you, Darren. Where would you like to see hip hop go? Now that we talked about the then and the now, there's some artists today that have our attention. It's not 100% trash. No, it's not what we're used to, but we're adapting, right? We're adjusting. You got some flow. They spitting some lyrics. They securing the bag. It's a different time. What would you like to see hip hop evolve to?
I mean, where it is now, where everybody's benefiting from it, and it stems into other areas. Like, you don't even necessarily have to be a rapper anymore benefit from hip hop. Like, you know, people are doing the podcast, they're doing these what they call like yoga. They're incorporating it into like yoga, church Christian recitals. It's like hip hop's not going to go anywhere no time soon.
Okay.
I mean, so far as the status of it being on the radio, it seems like it's taking the same way jazz was. Jazz was like the format, and then it started, you know, and then all the genres just started. Then rock and roll just kind of came in and kind of like had jazz more like in the background. So today, you still have the market. Jazz is not one of the leading markets, unfortunately, but it's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah, and it's and the newer generations are getting onto it and they're embracing it. So as long as that happens, as long as the new generations are embracing it, it'll be here.
It'll be here. Okay.
Life repeats itself, right? There was a time where, like he said, jazz was in the forefront. No one was listening to it. And all of a sudden, there was an explosion of jazz. Like, everybody had jazz lounges. There was jazz after parties. There were jazz clubs everywhere.
Yeah.
Now you don't see that anymore. Just like house music. Us are being house heads, so we listen to house music all the time. But the explosion of house is coming back. Like, house is in the forefront now. You know, and I'm not going to say that it was Beyonce and Drake who brought it in the forefront. I'm going to say, you know, even back when Jennifer Hudson did that song with
Terry Hunter.
Terry Hunter. Yeah.
Like, they
It's your
started.
world.
They started bringing it back into the forefront. Now you hear kids talking about house music now. I have some friends when I first moved here would never listen to house. I saw this chick at House in the Park. I said, "What you doing at House in the Park?" I said, "What you doing at House in the Park?" She was like, "Mind your business." I was like, "Okay," because when I used to play it, you couldn't stand it. So it's the same thing. So I think old school hip hop is going to come back because this newer generation of kids, not the ones that are 20s and 30s, I'm talking about these teenagers, they're listening to the 90s rap.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a cycle. It's going to come back. Everything repeats itself. Life is just repeating over and over and over again. Yeah. And it's going to come back.
Yeah. Dee, what do you think?
Yeah, like my mom used to tell me when I came in showing her a new dance, she's like, "Girl, that ain't new. We used to do that." So yeah, I would like, to Cheryl's point, I would like to kind of see it incorporate some of the old school, not necessarily sound, but the foundation, bringing back the DJ, being more musically in their productions and stuff, playing to a live band. I would like to see some of that.
I think
because a hip hop concert live is an amazing thing.
Yeah. When you have a live band.
That's awesome.
It gives it a whole new feeling.
Like, what rapper today, like this new school rap, which one of them can go and have the Roots come play live for their music? I don't know any of them that can.
I think Kendrick Lamar.
Joey Badass did My Umi Said.
Yes, he did. I seen clips of that. That was awesome. Oh my God, I was like, oh wow.
There are a pocket of them that can do it. It's a pocket of them that can do it.
The mainstream of them, like the Little Babies and the Babies and somebody else's baby, and they couldn't do it.
To credit my brother again, Nas, he performed with a whole orchestra.
Yes,
but we're not talking about. He
did his whole Illmatic album to an orchestra.
We're talking about these 2023 rappers.
Yeah, we talking about
which one of them could? Like the 90s rappers, all of them could.
It could be done. It's about the foundation. You can't build a house on sand, right? So you want to build and you grow. Go ahead, Dee.
And do you think maybe them taking music out of school is impacting this whole?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, but then it's being brought in at a higher level. So then you have people like Little John Roberts. I had him on here on the show. Awesome drummer, had toured with Janet Jackson for over a decade. Now he's a teacher at Berkeley. So then you have people that are teaching at Berkeley, at Cornell. Like there's DJs teaching scratch classes at Cornell University. So we're missing it in from K to 12. But then if you go to college, you have an opportunity to understand it. And hopefully the fundamentals are being taught, where it comes from, and people are asking the questions, and this platform can help. The conversations can help. The fact that we're still open to receiving new people, we can tell people when I was at your age,
Right.
this is what it was. So we have an opportunity to bridge the gap.
And it also comes from what do you play in your house?
Yes.
Like in my house, I play a lot of olds. Like
Me too.
My kids, my son, some of the times he's in the shower and I'm listening to what he's listening to. Like, so the boy is really listening to me.
Right.
Yes.
Because he's playing some stuff and he come, I'm like,
Yeah.
he was like, you just don't understand. I know a lot of stuff.
And
Yes.
listen, I was just at Tuskegee Homecoming.
Yes.
All the college students. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not make it seem like this new generation is just that biased listening to known music. There was a lot of them that was jamming to some of that old school music. The majority of the DJs out there, they was playing old school. They was playing 90s. And you seen some of the young folks like, yeah, this is my grandma's tune right here. So they still jamming.
There's a guy who
good music is good music, period.
Yeah.
There's a guy who does a TikTok and it's him acting like a young person and his father. And he'll say, Dad, you know this song? And he'll play something with like Isley Brothers in the background. And then his father will look at him.
Oh, yeah.
And then he'll play what the original song
Right.
is. He was like, they stole such and such music. He was like, no. I mean, it was just crazy. Like they played Joni Mitchell. Like he was playing the song that had Joni Mitchell on it. And the father came out and played
The original
song. And
Yeah.
he was like, they keep stealing all our music. Like, no, you're stealing our music, son.
It's been out here. That's awesome. That's cute. So listen, 7 years later, people, we had this was nice.
I'm so proud
This
of you.
was thank you so much.
And we
This
still look
was
good.
And we still look good, and we're still lovers of music, lovers of all kind of music. Yeah, I think it's important what you play. My son listens. He loves the OJs. He hears them. He turns them up because that's what I was playing. He knows Michael Jackson, and he knows everybody. And
my grandkids.
yeah, so when he's doing his homework, he's listening to 90s music. Like he's listening. So yeah, it's important. And I think foundation is important. That's what I wanted to say. Right. And what you're trying to build, make sure your foundation is solid. No, you don't really have to kiss anyone's behind, but understand what drove a person to do what they did and why you're passionate about it. Maybe there's a connection in that, because you don't want it to die with you, right? You want it to pass it on. And so again, we're just using different platforms and streams and mediums to help bridge the gap, because we love hip hop. We love the music. We do. So Dee, where can people find you? If you got some mixes or things you want to let the people know where they can find you, if you got some stuff out there?
Yeah, you can find me mostly on Podomatic. I have mixes there for free download. Give me a second, I'll give the address. I'm on Mixcloud. You can follow me on Instagram at DJ Butta ATL.
Okay, is that BUTTA?
Yes, BUTTA.
All right, you're welcome. Darren, how can the people find you and catch up with you and what you're doing?
The easiest way to follow me is on through Linktree. And it has all my social media platforms on it. And I also encourage people to check out moodslingers.com, mood, SLIGERZ.com, because that's a platform that showcases new music that's not played on the radio. And they're in the process of curating a lot of events in Atlanta, showcasing new artists as well as established artists. So that's moodslingers.com, Linktree, Dee Divine for your mind.
All right, awesome. Cheryl, how can the people find you?
I'm at home. I am at home, girl. Just
we all got to go to Cheryl's house.
Yeah, come to the house.
Just come to the house.
Cheryl's on the move.
I'll whip up something for you.
Cheryl's on the move.
I mean, no social platform like that. Understood. Just working really hard.
Okay. All right. Good. This
I am spinning November 5th on Rap Abernathy. You can find that on my Instagram page.
Oh, awesome.
We there.
Congratulations.
We there.
We'll have to peek in on that. We'll see what's up. All right, this is my time. You people know what it is. This is Real Chicks Rock. I am everywhere. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on formerly known as Twitter. It's X, right?
Right.
Check out the Facebook page. Go to the website, realchicksrock.com. Cop you a t-shirt. I know it's a little chilly. Wear that t-shirt under your leather jacket. You'll be all right. Get that merchandise. Get that merch. But yes, I want to thank my guest today. This was cute. And it was, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to do that. But I appreciate these people because they helped me when I had this vision. And I didn't know what to talk about then. I was like, we talk about hip hop. And we had a great show then, and we had a great show today.
Awesome, yeah.
So I want to thank my guests for coming today. But I want to leave you with this. Those of you that know, I love Frankie Crocker. I listen to him all the time. 107.5 WBLS in New York. And he used to say all the time before he left us, he would say, may you live to be 100 and I live to be 100 minus a day, so that I never have to know that beautiful people like you passed away. Until next time, take care, be well, and continue to rock on. Thank you for checking out Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next show.